No Dane has won more, and he just keeps on winning. Mads Pedersen with a third stage win in 5 days of racing in that pink jersey. And he left that close, didn't he, Robbie?
He left it really close, but he gauged everything he did. From that really steep kicker where we saw Roglic go to the front, we saw Mads Pedersen sliding back. It was almost full effort, but a sprinter like Mads and a guy who's intelligent as him, he knows when he's near his limit, so back off just then. Just let it slide, and he left himself with the energy to come back to the front. He found his teammate, got back in position, and then clicked into the mode of, OK, act like nothing's happened, let's go ahead and sprint. But, oh, it was a close one. And Zambonini is more of a climber type, but it shows you this course just levelled it out for everybody.
Yeah. Do you know what a beautiful thing is with Mads Pedersen? Is not only is he a very, very good cyclist, but he also knows where to put his energy in. And I think there's one thing about having good legs, but reading that road book, looking at every detail. Like you said there, dropping back on that climb because he was close to his limit, he knew that it plateaued, went down slightly, so that little bit of recovery that he wouldn't have if he went full, he was able to take that recovery on the climb, and then catch back up on the downhill. So it's just that complete cyclist, we were talking about this in commentary earlier, that can know everything about the route and use that efficiency down to a T, and he did it perfectly today. I
feel like he's getting more and more impressive, Matt. Any other rider, you would have written them out of the race on that climb when they're dropping back and thinking, that's it, they've pushed themselves too far. But for him to be able to gauge his effort like that was phenomenal.
Yeah, look, just echo Adam's sentiment there. He clearly knows exactly what he needs to do. And I think as well, Vacek played a key role. Vacek set the tempo, and I was shouting at the telly, like, Vacek, back off a little bit. But it was so exciting. That was brilliant. Absolutely thrilling bike racing. Absolutely. The pure essence, that was pure Giro. Brilliant stuff. But he measured his effort. He gave himself that sliding space. At one point, Mads was dropping back like a stone. Yeah. But he bought himself a little bit of recovery. But then the level of fitness, the shape that he's in now, enabled him to find something else and deliver a winning sprint. But he was grovelling at the end. Yeah. He was sprinting through treacle, but he went so deep there, clearly.
Yeah, but here on the climb, I mean, this is economics 101. Never borrow more than you can pay back. That's exactly what he did. He let himself slide back, so he didn't put himself in the red zone and really compromise what he was able to do once they got over the top of that climb. He knew he had time, and that's where a lot of riders will panic. When they're starting to struggle, they'll try and, I've got to hang on, I've got to stay in the front. So he never did too much. But this moment here, I actually thought for a moment, Tom Pidcock is coming, because this road, it's hard, you can't see it on TV, it continues to kick up from 2 to 3, 3.5, almost 4% by the time you get to the finish. But what a flyer up the barriers. How brave was Zambonini?
Well, brave. If the UCI back up what they did yesterday, he will get a yellow card for sure. Because the way that he came with about 150, 200 metres to go, he knocked one rider and he gave him a right old shunt. He didn't impede anyone, he was passing them. But if the UCI want to back up what they're doing, for me, he clipped a rider hard enough to...
Can we see that again for Commissaire Adam? I'd like to see that again. If we can get that any further,
he'll be in a blazer soon, won't he? Blimey.
That was going to be a real opportunity for Tom Pidcock today. He will be disappointed with that. You can read it from his face there, and oh, so close, Matt.
Yeah, as you say, he had to make up a lot of space. The thing about Mads Pedersen, tired or not, once he opens up a sprint, there's very few riders that can pass him in current form. You look back at the results, unless he's missed the breakers up, but when he opens up the sprint on a long drag like that, think back to the Tour a couple of years ago when he outpaced Pedersen. I mean, that drag, Everard was on the very, very limit, but you could see Tom had gone really deep there. He did what he could, but I think that, I mean, you can deconstruct every sprint, but he had to make up a lot more pace.
I think that's one crucial thing as well with Pedersen at the minute. He's a hot favourite. So everybody there that can see him, they will fight for that wheel, massively fight for that wheel. So Mads almost has a little bit of more space, whereas the likes of Pidcock, he's got to fight 7, 8, 9, 10
riders. He'll be given that a little bit more respect, won't he?
Get onto that wheel.
Tom came from a lot further back, around the last corner. He was behind Michael Storer, who's left of the picture in the black and red.
Yeah.
So Tom was about 7th or 8th wheel around the last corner. Mads Pedersen was 2nd. Tom made up that distance to get back up into the wheel, but that's a major effort at that point in the race. And then to try and take on the wearer of the Magliarosa in the sprint, it's just that little bit too much to be able to get it done.
Really interesting, because this is exactly what you were saying as we're watching this. You said, tell Vacek, drop back, bring Mads up. Of course, Mads was your pick for today.
Yes.
But him saying that Vacek maybe could have won the stage, had the ability to win the stage himself today. It's all of these things that you're having to juggle, because Vacek will know that himself, of course, more than anybody else, but he also knows that his role is there to support Mads Pedersen and that pink jersey. And that's a big call as well for Maxime to be able to say, no, your role is still Mads. Even though I guess he's not entirely sure whether Mads is dropping back because he's gauging his effort or whether he doesn't quite have it.
Maxime said it then, we stick to plan A. There's no other plan. You can't change the plan in the final 2 kilometres, so we'll stick to that plan. Gave the call to Vacek, ease off a little bit, let Mads come back to you. But it's just for Vacek probably knowing that he can win, and I think the team knowing that he can win as well. It's just giving the confidence to Vacek, you will get your day, you will get your day. But it's very difficult in that situation for Vacek. I'm sure he loves leading Mads out and the success they're getting. But when you're in the form he's in, it's almost like you're itching, almost. It doesn't matter who you are, you're a bike rider. What you want to do is win. So there'll be a point of him where he's scratching, going...
Just holding, but having to hold back so hard,
for Vacek, it's like flying on standby.
Yeah.
You're waiting to get the call up to jump in the seat and take off, and he's there and waiting for Mads, expecting him to come back. But if he doesn't, suddenly he has to, at one moment, make a decision. OK, he's not here, it's now me. But that's a very late call, and that's racing instinct. That's paying attention, looking around, and like Maxime said, not waiting for a call, because the delay on the footage that the directors can see in the car can be up to 30 or 40 seconds behind reality.
That's a big trust that Pedersen's got in Vacek as well, that maybe at those moments, well, you can get on the radio, but when you're full gas pulling on your bars, it's hard to get on the radio. So for Vacek to have a look around and just check where he is, that's the trust that Pedersen has in him, that he's not just going to go like a robot.
It was completely in control there as well. And also, for them to reconfigure, so like Vacek was on the front, how could you win from leading a group like that? So they had to stick to plan A as well. But it was, so well managed that was, on across the board.
Yeah.